All right.
Sounds great. Well, you want me to take over?
Take over.
Okay.
Go
I've
for
got
it,
another
John.
failure show. This is number 45 by my reckoning. So many failures, so few gods. Today I want to talk about the Christian obsession with sex and power. And what got me started on this is Dan Patrick is our lieutenant governor, and he is pushing a bill requiring that transgendered people use the bathrooms for their biological sex, in quotes, in government and school restrooms. And it also, the law would bar local ordinances to the contrary. And Patrick, who presides over the Senate, has said the action was required to ensure that sexual predators do not use transgender bathroom laws as a pretext for entering women's bathrooms. So this is sort of in response to Obama's edict on that. And the law would be enforced through fines.
Would you say that Dan Patrick is trying to override a federal law via a state law?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and ironically...
And he's trying to
bar the overriding of the local... So it's a power grab from above and below is right. What it's about. So there's a power component there for sure. Mm-hmm. From my perspective, this bill is clearly vindictive and doesn't solve any actual problem. And he asserts that
notice the law wasn't actually that sex offenders can't use restrooms.
Right. I mean, that would have made much more sense.
Yeah.
And I think he'd have a complete...
It still wouldn't make sense because sexual predators have the right to have basic biological functions, right. But it would make more sense than this.
He asserts that the only people opposed are Anglo-liberals, and many of them work in the media. So I guess that even includes us, because we're Anglo and we're kind of in the media, sort of, kind of. Anyway, so this was one of the first days of the legislature this session, and there is all sorts of laws and problems that the legislature needs to fix, and there's a huge number of them have to do with children. So Texas has a broken foster care system. Texas Child Protective Services has seen an increase in the number of children who have died under Greg Abbott. School funding is broken and needs to be fixed. There needs to be an improving of funds for therapy for the disabled. There needs to be a stopping of the rejection of children who need special education for the purposes of the rejection for the purposes of saving money. And we need to stop promoting school vouchers. But none of these things are high on the list of priorities for Dan Patrick, who controls the agenda. And a little bit about Dan Patrick. He's, I think, in many ways, a sort of typical Christian legislator. In his inaugural speech for lieutenant governor, he said, "I represent all faiths and religions, but I'm a Christian first and a conservative second and a Republican third. I praise Jesus for this moment and this day." And he believes he's been anointed by God and claims to have God's blessing on all his decisions. He's got a lot of other crazy beliefs like there is no such thing as a separation of church and state. So he's kind of a dangerous guy, and most of the bills that he has put out have a Christian slant to an obvious Christian slant. He even wrote the book, The Second Most Important Book You Will Ever Read. That's the title of the book. So, and he said God endorsed it, so thumbs up.
Let me take three guesses about what the first important book is.
Right, exactly.
The only book that some people read, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Or act like they read.
So that's Dan Patrick, but he's among a large number of Christian legislators in Texas, and this Texas is kind of a test bed, I think, for Christians and their laws, and they don't have any trouble getting elected in Texas. Just say Christian, and a lot of people will vote for them, especially in the red parts of the state. Austin tends to be a blue part of the state. There's no shortage of laws, past and present, restricting or controlling people's private parts. There have been, or there are, dildo laws, sodomy laws, endless abortion laws, state-provided false information about pregnancy, more abortion laws, contraceptive misinformation in schools, fetal tissue laws, sonogram laws, raising the bar unfairly for family planning clinics, more abortion restrictions, incest and rape are just fine with us, abortion waiting periods, interfering with doctor-client privilege, Still more abortion laws. Severe, irreversible fetal or abnormalities must result in a birth. And we love fake abortion videos. You know, those fake discredited abortion videos, they love those newsy. So these are some of the things that Christians do when they get in power in Texas. And you know, one could complain that this is not all Christians, but this is the Christians that are actually doing something and making a difference. And you know, by their fruits you shall know them. So even at the national stage, there are these cultural wars that have been going on for years that include sabotaging women's health care, abortion, especially Planned Parenthood, going after Planned Parenthood, who incidentally prevents more abortions than they do. Contraception, gay rights, sodomy laws, marriage rights, transgender issues, and even meddling in schools, teaching that evolution is bunk, promotion of prayer, screwing up sex education, voucher schemes, these sorts of things. They're all kind of part of the culture war. And what can we conclude from all this? Well, first off, Christians must use the power of government because they lack any other power. If they had some other power to make all this stuff happen, they would just snap their fingers and do that.
Right. And I mean, I think to the point, they don't have or have confidence in their power of persuasion. Like they don't make the case for these laws by going in front of the public or convincing local business owners, please don't allow transgender bathrooms or intersex bathrooms. They enforce it.
Yeah, they tend to be heavy-handed, and you know, if there's quite a number of quotes in the Bible about Jesus talking about the power of prayer. In John 14:12 through 14, he says, "Truly, truly, I say unto you, he who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I go to the Father. Whatever you ask in my name, I will do it. That the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask anything in my name, I will do it." And there's a lot of quotes like this about, you know, the various circumstances under which you can pray and get whatever you want. And clearly the Christians have this ability to do this. And why aren't they doing it?
Well, if I were to argue the Christian point of view, I'd probably say, yeah, God does give us the ability to stop those perverts from using bathrooms by blessing us with diligent legislators who pass laws that are
who happen to be rich.
Done.
Yeah. Okay. So the Christian clergy doesn't even really have the power of the pew. They haven't even really been able to enforce these sorts of laws in their own churches. And so Christians seem to want to grab power everywhere they can to consolidate the power with the state and have the religion run it. It seems to be the long-term plan here, and they've done a very good job, I have to say, of ratcheting forward with these additional laws every couple of years. And when you look back on it, it's quite a large number. Another thing we can conclude is that Christians are just completely obsessed about sex, and they want no sex before marriage. Marriage is the only way for men to have sex. Once married, the wife must submit and make a quiver full of children. There can be no abortion, contraceptives, or family planning. These are all the Christian messages. Those children must be raised with a religion, and any means of enforcing that religion or upbringing is to be used, and those children should repeat the process, and so on. And this is sort of the Christian agenda, if you will. And so everybody knows there's no God that can make tithers, and the churches need to control this harness, this magic that is completely out of their hands, the magic of birth, by controlling women and controlling reproduction. And it's much easier for religions to make new minds to infect with this mind virus than it is. It's much easier, more cost-effective than trying to convert people. You can actually say they don't recruit, they procreate. And let's see. So it seems like unless they can co-opt the government to enforce precisely those things that their God or all that all the magic in Christendom cannot do, they're using the government because they don't have this power. And they seem to be demonstrating to us that all of Christianity is a giant fraudulent pyramid scheme that needs to suck resources from others for its survival. And who cares about the needs of those children as they grow up, as long as they believe in God and make more? So that's it.
Okay.
Another failure of Christianity.
Yeah. Let's see. I've been reminded of an announcement that I skipped, something that some of our members would like to raise the visibility of. There is an atheist orphanage being built in Uganda, which
That's interesting.
sounds dicey because a lot of scams come out of that area, but the Freedom from Religion, the Foundation Beyond Belief has gotten involved and donated them to them and are promoting them. They've been covered in several mainstream news sources. They, as best as we can tell, appear to be a legitimate organization. And
so what does an atheist orphanage mean? Is that they're trying to get kids into atheist households?
No, well, I'm afraid I was asked to talk this up, and I don't have all the details at my fingertips.
All right. Because we're all born atheists, right? We have to be taught how to believe.
Well, yeah, but I think the point here is that there are a lot of orphanages that are explicitly run in a religious way, and I would presume that what they're after is setting up a deliberately secular institution, sort of like Camp Quest, which is a great group that we support, and it's all over the country, and it's a summer camp that kids can go to that is explicitly not a religious camp.
Right.
Although,
right.
I don't believe
so
they
free from the religious biases.
pressure people one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of it?
I'm pulling that up, but they have a crowdfunding campaign. They're called Bizoha Orphanage, Bizoha. And I just thought I'd mention it because
That's interesting.
It seems like a worthy cause, and I hope nobody will get back to us and say that we've been had. But
your
check them out.
responsibility doesn't really end when you donate, right? You really sort of need to kind of keep an eye on what that organization does with your money and
Right.
speak up.
But
yeah.
I trust Foundation Beyond Belief's judgment because this is the main thing that they do. So check them out.